for a hearing on parenting time this morning. I've had the pleasure of chatting with a lot of the attorneys about this issue, trying to work out perhaps the best way forward. And there's been a lot of updates in this case. I think the initial disposition date, we didn't have a written court report that was prepared by our caseworker for today, or at least I have a list of exhibits, updated case service plan, for example. Oh, there it is, in court report. So I think we've concluded that it would be good to have the review and then to have the testimony of Ms. Kristen Smith for as long as we can. She's not supposed to be working today, but she's joined us anyway, which we're very grateful for. And then we'll get into the parenting time after that. So appearances, please.
Lee Heiss, lawyer guardian ad litem.
Nastasia Thomas, counsel for the department. Ms. Smith.
Kristen Smith, foster care worker, Catholic Charities.
Michael McFarland, representing father, sir.
Andrew Zick, father.
Brian Fry, attorney for Erica Allen, appearing via Zoom. Erica is also by Zoom. Eric, if you could state your name, Erica.
Erica Allen via Zoom.
All right, do the attorneys concur with the recitation of the sidebar and with the agreement to conduct a review?
I do.
Yep.
Your Honor, I just spoke to my client. He has not read the court report as he was not anticipating a review today. Let me just check.
Yeah, that's how we can do.
My client indicates he's okay with the review then, Your Honor.
All right, I'm happy to allow you some additional time too if you need to ask questions at our next court date.
Thank you. I would ask to reserve the right to do that. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Thomas.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, at what point?
Anything else to add about the sidebar, and are you in agreement to conduct the review today?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah.
Okay.
And nothing to add on the sidebar.
Thank you. Ms. Heiss, would you like to make any report?
Yes, thank you. I was able to meet these children both in visits with their parents at Catholic Charities and also at their grandparents' placement. They have as a CTAC tells us, lots of resiliency. These kids are going to bounce back just fine. They've been through chronic trauma, mostly domestic violence in the home, and different things going on for them. So we're looking forward to the parents understanding how to parent kids who have been through trauma. And I know parents are starting to engage in all kinds of services. Grandparents have been very much involved in this family's life. They've had the kids at their home several times throughout their lives and have really bent over backwards to keep the relationship with these kids. When the children lived here and the grandparents lived in Illinois, for example, I believe grandfather would come to Michigan like every other weekend or every weekend just to see the kids and build his bond and keep it going. So they've really gone, now those folks have moved here, and they're not even, one is retired, one is working from home, but they've made a real commitment to taking care of these kids, and their needs are all met in the current placement. And we're just waiting for parents to benefit from services so that children can be reunited. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. If I can have Ms. Smith sworn in, please.
Names, Ms. Kristen Smith.
Ms. Smith, is your right hand raised?
Yes, it is.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, you prepared a court report as ordered at the disposition, and it includes several attachments. In addition to the court report, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made to the court report or the attachments?
Yes, I have a few updates. As far as it goes for the kids, Andrew and Penelope did start therapy on October 31st, and that's to continue weekly. That's through Catholic Charities with Aaron Abbott. Updates for Erica. She attended her psych eval on 10/30. Oh, give me a second. I apologize. She attended her psych eval on 10/30. We don't have that report back. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks. She did attend her psychiatrist appointment on 11/1, and continued the prescribed medication. She also started parenting education with Sonia Howell. DV program is set to begin early November. That's through CAB. They were busy with Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so that was put on hold a little bit. Her employment has been verified, and she did begin anger management on 10/31, and it'll be weekly through Trusting Connections. And then I do have a couple updates for Andy as well. Let's see. I believe he had his intake meeting for domestic violence and anger management with John Bailey on 10/30. He was scheduled to attend his first group session this past Saturday. I haven't gotten a chance to touch base with Mr. Bailey on that yet. A referral was also made for him to Sonia Howell for parenting education, since there's a pretty long wait list through Orchards. As of 11/3, he had not completed the intake paperwork. He is screening weekly now, randomly through probation. I haven't received his most recent drug screen, I believe, from Friday. And then he did come in on Friday and sign a release for us for his insight counseling for substance abuse, which is scheduled to begin on 11/7.
Thank you. And since the disposition date, were you able to have a family team meeting or meeting with the family to discuss increasing parenting time and the logistics of that?
Yes, I met with them separately, either by phone or in person. Andy, I don't believe we were able to really meet in person, but we did adjust and modify the parenting time, which is detailed in the most recent case service plan that was sent out. I believe it was labeled Exhibit 2.
And just to highlight, the recommendation would be for dad to have supervised parenting time at the grandparents' home twice a week. And then for mom, one time at the agency, and then one time with the grandparents. But you are also agreeable that parenting time for mom can include an unsupervised element. Is that correct?
Correct. If we were to have the discretion to allow for unsupervised parenting time for Erica, we would then kind of reconvene and come up with a scheduled unsupervised parenting time. It wouldn't, just be whenever is, it would have to be a scheduled, same time, same day, consistent.
And as it relates to father, right now, there's no neutral or professional parenting time supervisor. Is that correct?
His parents have obviously offered, and then recently, his brother is an approved, support person for the family, but Andy Zick hasn't expressed his desire for his brother to watch his visits. He's only expressed that he would like them at his parents' house.
Okay, but there's no professional agency that's going to supervise them at this time?
Not at this time. Even though I made the referral for Sonia Howell, I didn't cancel the referral that's through Orchards. When I did make that referral about a month ago, they said it was about a 10-week waiting period. So I can follow up with them again and see if that has gotten any shorter. But if it continues on the timeline they told us, we wouldn't have a professional supportive visitation person available for at least another 5 weeks.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring to the court's attention today?
No.
Okay, just for purposes of expediency, Your Honor, I'm going to ask the court to receive the court report and the attachments. I believe that it's really comprehensive and speaks to the necessary elements the court must find for a review hearing. Thank you.
Any objections?
No objections with the caveat, I will be able to do additional questioning in our next review on this report.
Yes.
I have no objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. There's a litany of exhibits that were received by the court October 26th, stretching from A to P, and then another set of exhibits identified as just simply updated case service plans following that family team meeting on parenting time with A and B attached, received November 1st. Just so everyone's clear on what I have in front of me. And these recommendations, I think, are going to continue to be important moving forward. So I will afford all of the professionals the opportunity to ask more questions or do the follow-up on some of these, especially, for example, the CTAC recommendations, and some of these things will continue to be relevant. So if there's questions that come up on these in the next report period, I'll allow you to ask about that as well. Okay. Any questions for this witness, Mr. Fry?
Yes, Your Honor. How you doing today, Ms. Smith?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, did you visit the home of Erica?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and was that an appropriate living place?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and is that the same place that the kids previously lived as well?
Yes, to my knowledge.
Okay, and you had verification that Erica is the sole owner of that residence now?
Correct.
Okay. And would it be appropriate for the children to be there?
Yes.
Okay, so parenting time could occur at that residence, in your opinion?
Yes, it could.
Okay. And have you implemented some recommendations for some services with Erica?
Yes.
Okay, and has she complied with those recommendations?
Yes.
Okay, has she done everything that you've asked of her?
Yes.
Okay. And she's involved in parenting classes with Sonia Howell?
Correct.
Okay. And I believe your recommendation was that unsupervised parenting time for Erica could occur, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And would you recommend that that begins?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know when that could occur?
I mean, I guess as I would like to meet with Erica and create, I mean, essentially a safety plan in the event that, you know, Andy show up to the house, or, you know, if as soon as she could meet with me and create a safety plan that everybody would agree on, we could begin unsupervised parenting time.
Do you think it would be beneficial to have a set schedule for parenting time versus, you know, leaving it kind of in the open?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. If Erica did have unsupervised, would that open up additional time opportunities for parenting time?
Yes, absolutely.
So right now, is parenting time limited by, you know, supervisors and the agency's availability?
Yes, as well as the kids' school schedule, and the oldest child has wrestling practice 3 days a week that goes well into the evening. So to allow for her to have unsupervised parenting time, she would be able to be more flexible with seeing the kids.
And would you agree that if her parenting time was unsupervised, it could be more than the 3 hours that was recommended per week right now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you think it would be appropriate to have some kind of order in place regarding which parent should attend sporting events and doctor's appointments and that type of thing?
Yes, I think that both the parents are aware that they need to stagger their attendance and plan ahead, and communicate that with the caregiver, which to my knowledge thus far they have been doing.
Okay. So do you think they should alternate attending those visits and events?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I have nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland?
I guess I'm somewhat confused, Ms. Smith. I thought it was your opinion that at a large event like a wrestling event, there'd be no problem with the parents on one on the visitors, one on the home side, as they would not be interacting. Wasn't that your opinion?
Well, yes, but my opinion is not the same as a no contact order, which Eric has through probation. I think
Yes.
that the parents have been appropriate. I think that they can be cordial in the event that they were to run into each other. However, I think that to follow the no contact order and to cover our bases, they should plan accordingly. And with wrestling events, they are extremely long. And the child normally wrestles at least 3 times. So it would be feasible for the parents to alternate attending a wrestling meet and still get to see their child perform.
If there was confirmation on the no contact order that going to a public event would not violate that, would you have any objections?
I would not.
Okay. And the no contact is not with my client against Erica, it's against Erica against my client, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the difference would be. I mean, she can't see him, which means he can't see her. So that would be something that Erica can talk with her probation officer about. And if we can get an order that, you know, a community event or a public event, they're allowed to be, then I agree. I think that they can be mature adults and attend their children's extracurriculars.
It sounds as though my client is on board with what you're asking him to do as far as services. Would that be accurate?
To an extent, yes.
And the feedback that you've had from the supervisors, his parents, have been nothing negative regarding his visits, correct?
I have not spoken. I've only spoken with his mother once. The case was transferred essentially to the new worker, Hunter Boscher, on 11/2. So she has followed up with the family. But to my knowledge, the parenting time has went fine.
Okay. And do you have any objections fundamentally to my client having 6 hours per week rather than just 3 hours per week if the goal is reunification for visits?
No, I don't. That has already been discussed, and that his mother and father are willing and accommodating to have him over. The issue has been with his inconsistent work schedule or change in times. The agency is not able to accommodate 6 hours of evening parenting time.
Okay, but it's my understanding that the grandparents would be able to accommodate 6 hours, correct?
Correct. And the agency would be in support of that.
Okay, and what's the purpose of having the agency supervise one visit?
To ensure that conversation remains appropriate. I do know that in the CTAC, and it's been observed that conversation doesn't remain age appropriate. There is bad mouthing that goes on between, one parent essentially talking bad about the other parent, or, the very first visit that Andy had, he had stressed that he didn't want the visit there supervised, but it had to be supervised. And he wanted to talk about the case in front of the kids, which isn't appropriate. So that is our biggest concern, along with his current substance use history.
So what about if one visit, his third visit per week at his grandparents were recorded for the agency? So the agency would be able to have the very same feedback, very same suggestions, very same input to him, reviewing that.
Sure.
What's your opinion on that?
I mean, that would be fine.
Okay, and you have the electronic means to communicate, to do a recording on Zoom, so there could be just a Zoom recording of, let's say, his third visit as grandparents. So, so the purpose of a supervised visitation would basically be accomplished by that. Would you agree?
I'm sorry, can you repeat just the last question?
Oh, not a problem. That you could record a Zoom meeting with my client and his kids at the grandparents' house, so you could give the same feedback and guidance as though it were a live meeting, correct?
I myself am not sure how to record a Zoom, but yes, I'm sure that it could be figured out.
Okay. Is there any reason why, well, actually, you're agreeable to mom having unsupervised visits before the psychological evaluation and the recommendations come back? Is that what I'm hearing?
Based on what the agency has observed and her engagement and consistency with the agency, yes. I think that she is appropriate with the children. I don't think that they are at a risk of harm in her care at this time for unsupervised visits.
What distinguishes your opinion of father that he must continue with supervised visits as opposed to mom?
Andy has right now a substance use problem that he is not engaging in. He does not maintain contact with the agency, and I believe at the last meeting I had with him, he agreed that he needs to be better with that. Up until recently, has he showed an interest in starting any services? And like I said, at the parenting time that he has had with them, for he had a parenting time, it was an hour and a half, and he needed to smoke a cigarette during that time. I believe the parenting time that Miss Heist came to, he was resting or relaxing on the floor instead of engaging with his children. So at this time, I think that it's still early in the case, and for his lack of engagement in services, I believe that his parenting time should remain supervised, at least by his parents or his brother.
Okay. And he's been testing negative for drugs through his probation department, correct?
I've received one drug screen, and the details of that is also in my court report. I'm not sure if his probation officer was unaware that Tylenol and Advil are not amphetamines, but he did test positive. That is also included in my report. His drug screen from Friday, I have not received back.
Oh. And I guess lastly, what is your intention for communications for my client with your agency? And your
I would,
successor?
at the bare minimum, respond to a text. I mean, he doesn't respond to the agency really at all. I've started a group text with his mother, so the three of us can be in contact about the kids. Very rarely does he respond to that.
And you verified his text number, correct?
Yes, I have the correct phone number.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Smith, do you have some kind of paperwork that shows mom's the sole owner of her house?
Yes, that's also attached in my court report.
And will you be safety planning before unsupervised visits regarding no disparaging of the other parent and no talking about the court proceedings?
Yes, that's essentially what I was referring to when I spoke with her attorney about creating a safety plan before we would start the unsupervised parenting times.
And then have you or will you train grandparents in taking notes and how to, about start time, stop time, the structure, the nurture, who's providing for the needs of the children during visits?
Yes, we have spoken to them, and they've also received copies of the children's CTAC reports. And we've explained that the conversation needs to remain appropriate, not bad mouthing the other parents. That make sure that their needs are being met during visits, that they're the ones providing, whatever the child needs during that visit.
Do we have some written reports about the visits that have been supervised so far?
Not written reports, no.
Okay. Going forward, is that a reasonable thing to do?
Not every visit, I guess, depending on how many, hours a week. I mean, this is going to be a lot of documentation and paperwork for, I think that notes could be taken, yes, but a full, page report on every parenting time. I mean, we ask the caregivers, like, hey, we follow up with them the next day. Hey, did they come? Were they on time? They send us a quick text, that, yep, they showed up. They were on time. This is what we did. I know that Erica had a Halloween party that the kids went to over in her neighborhood.
Are they trained on shutting down a visit if they see certain behavior?
I guess define trained. I think that, if it's not appropriate, I think that both the grandparents have what's in their grandchildren's best interest in mind. I don't think that they're going to allow an inappropriate behavior or something like that occur during a parenting time by either parent.
But they've been informed that they can stop a visit?
To stop the visit, I guess no. They can be. I can follow up with them and let them know, if there was a concern that, yes, they could end the visit, notify the agency, and then we would follow up.
Yeah, so then you have not been screening mom or dad, is that true?
There's no allegations for substance use as far as Erica Allen goes in the petition. She did drug screen. When asked by CPS, all of those screens were negative. When she screened for me, that drug screen was also negative. So Erica Allen is not screening, nor is she required to engage in screening or substance use treatment. Andy refused to drug screen up until the 18th, which I believe was our initial dispo. He had stated that he would save his positive screens for after he's court ordered.
Okay, so he's on colors now, is that right?
He is now on colors through probation, yes.
Okay, and what is the plan for getting, communicating with drug screener?
Communicating with who's screening him?
Yes.
I'm in regular contact with his probation officer, and he can send me those through email. Andy has signed a release, so we have that.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Any redirect?
No, Your
Ms.
Honor, I want to be
Thomas?
mindful of Ms. Smith's time and Mr. Frey, his next hearing.
Yes. Do you feel comfortable, Mr. Fry, with the amount of cross-examination you've had of this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
As do I.
Very good. All right. Well, at this point then, thank you again, Ms. Smith, for joining us this morning. You're welcome to excuse yourself from our meeting, and as I understand it, we'll be back at 1:30 to continue the review and the parenting time hearing. So thank you for your patience, and we're in recess until 1:30.